Hello to whomever this may concern. My name is Sulaiman AlKadi, and this is the video debate component of my personal project investigation, which aims to delve into the complex relationship between technological advancements and jobs. Today, I have the honor of moderating a debate by two incredible individuals very well versed in the topic at hand. For the affirmative side, we have Khalid Amran, a student, an exceptional student who is very interested in economics and finance and rather well versed on the topic at hand. And for the opposition, we have Nizar AlKadi, another student who retains vast experience in artificial intelligence and economics. So without further ado, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello there, my name is Sulaiman AlKadi, and this is the video debate component of my personal project. We have Mr. Khalid Amran and Mr. Nizar AlKadi, who will be representing both sides of the argument here today. So without further ado, the first question is, one, should technology that inherently affects the financial well-being of people be eliminated and or banned? So Khalid, since you're pro-technology, what is your stance here?
My stance is I don't think it should be banned. Limited, maybe, if it gets to the point where people are struggling to a large extent to find jobs that are fitting for them. Maybe limiting them might be a good policy, but banning them, I believe, just stops or slows down innovation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What about you, Nizar? What is your opinion on this?
My stance about it is technology definitely should not be completely banned, since that is very unreasonable. I believe what should be done is it should be limited by governments. Governments should give subsidies to businesses that would rather hire people than technologies, and maybe have a high tax rate on these machines that replace people. I believe that's a sustainable way of keeping the jobs for people. And I believe it's also good for businesses if you give them subsidies for it. It's all around good for everyone.
Mm-hmm. That is very reasonable. Thank you, Mr. Nizar. Okay, so question number two. Is technology fundamentally taking away more jobs than it is creating? So Khalid, if you'd like to share your opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't think that technology is fundamentally taking more jobs than it is creating. In the short run, it may be true that some jobs are going away, but eventually, with the production of new inventions and new innovations, new jobs are going to be produced, jobs that are fitting for everyone. So no, I do not think so.
Okay, as a follow-up, you said that those jobs are fit for everyone. What do you think of people who don't have access to education? What has to happen to those people then?
Not all jobs need education. Most jobs need education. That is very true. But that's not necessarily the case for every single job. Like people, supermarket clerks, they don't really need much education. Maybe a course for a few days provided by the supermarket themselves. Obviously, this is a very broad example, but not all new jobs need to have some sort of education. And in the case that they do, the company themselves could provide that education in the form of a contract where they would teach their new employees how to do that job in exchange for them having to stay at that job for some number of years.
Mm-hmm. So Nizar, you seem to have a response to that. If you may go ahead.
Yes, I believe Khalid has pointed out the biggest problem. Thank you, Khalid, for doing that, which is that a lot of people do not have degrees, and they do not have a higher level of education, and they go for these lower income jobs that do not need a high level of education. But what Khalid seems has missed is that the problem is that these technologies and these machines, they're taking away jobs from those people who don't have education, the people who need these jobs most. They don't have anywhere else to go. Now, a lot of people may say that, oh, it will open up new jobs for whoever wants to build these technologies, but that requires a high level of education, since it's engineers and people who know how computer science works. These are the people who develop these technologies. The people who are getting their jobs taken away are not given the same opportunities. They cannot go for these higher level jobs. They need their jobs, and that's why we should limit these technologies. Thank you.
Okay, Khalid, a very interesting response, Nizar. Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Khalid?
Yeah. Like I said, some jobs do not need any form of education. Going back to the supermarket clerk job or a person working at a gas station or so on, most jobs do need education. I agree on that part, and there needs to be some sort of solution made or some way to educate these people at a fast rate so that they can continue with their jobs. But at the same time, I do believe that not all jobs need a high level of education, and therefore his point doesn't really stand.
Okay, thank you very much, Khalid. So moving on to question number 3. What about the future of technology? What if technology becomes capable of doing most or all of the things that we're capable of doing? What happens then? So Khalid, if you'd like to respond to that.
Yeah, so to start off, I don't think that that is quite possible. Though technology is getting more and more intelligent as time goes on, uh, I do not think that, not in the foreseeable future or forever, that we're going to see technology that is as intelligent as a human being or can respond to things the way that human beings do. There's that certain key of emotion that humans have that technology just doesn't. There are actually lots of debates going on about technology within the medical field, specifically technology replacing nurses and doctors when doing surgery and just medical care within hospitals. Um, I actually believe that that's a bad thing because it's sometimes very good to have that sort of emotional connection with either your doctor or your nurse, where they can reassure you that everything is going to be fine and they can be quite honest with you, just a regular human connection. So I do not think that there would be a point where technology would be able to do what humans can do.
Okay, that is a very fantastic point. Mr. Nizar, what is your take on the question? Would you like me
I
to restate
believe
it?
that it's a scary thought that someday technology, excuse me?
Go ahead. No, sorry.
I okay. I believe it's a very scary thought that someday technology can take over most jobs that exist today, and there would be practically no lower income since they would all lower class because they would all die out, and that's the biggest problem here. Khalid mentioned gas stations and supermarkets. Well, a lot of gas stations these days. Um, Especially in a lot of countries, uh, it's all automated. You just put in your money and get to fill up your tank by yourself. No need for a worker. That job has already been taken away in a lot of countries. They are now developing restaurants where there are no people who serve you the food. There are no waiters. They're just machines that do it. Um, it's and Khalid said that there is no emotion, but I don't think that matters as much. There has been technology made in Japan, I believe Japan, that basically it's AI that creates music. And I personally know people who actually quite enjoy that music. So it's even replacing art now. Robots are replacing art. I believe it's very, very probable that someday robots and technology will take over most of the workforce. I mean, there are a lot of studies that predict that by 2030, 20 million jobs around the world will be just taken over by robots.
Hmm. Okay, again, extremely interesting perspective. Thank you, Nizar. So, moving on to question number 4. Many arguments state that technological unemployment is, in its essence, just temporary relocation of the workforce. Do you agree with this or do you not? And if so, why or why not? So, Nizar, if you'd like to start off this time.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Okay, so many arguments state that technological unemployment is, in its essence, just temporary relocation of the workforce. So, do you agree with this? Do you not? Why or why not?
I mean, usually, yes, it is just a temporary relocation of the workforce. But at this point in time, it's not about that because it's been shown that technology has been rapidly increasing in progression, and it's been becoming more and more of an issue. Eventually, there will be no jobs. 47% of US jobs are at high risk of automation already. Okay, 47%. It's almost half of the jobs in the United States. High risk of automation. That's probably by 30 years, these jobs are going to be gone. Where are these people going to work? A lot of people say, again, that it's just a relocation. But when it's at this pace, when the technology is rapidly growing at this pace, it's going to be really hard to catch up. Most time in history, in most of history, it was a slow pace of how technology was progressing. But now today in the 21st century, it's been progressing like we've never seen before, and we cannot catch up as an economy.
Okay, thank you, Nizar. So Khalid, if you wouldn't mind sharing your own opinion.
Yeah, so I do agree in the sense that it is a temporary relocation of these employed people. But I disagree in the sense that it will be impossible to catch up at some point. It would be very difficult, that I have to say. But if we were to continue to provide education, and if we were to continue to provide these opportunities to these people, then I don't think that would be an issue. There are a lot of new emerging educational fields, academic fields that are happening, that are being produced, that create jobs. Sociology is relatively new, psychology, astrophysics, computer engineering, computer science, all of these didn't exist a few centuries ago. So people continue to produce new fields where jobs can be created as a result of new technology and new discoveries. So I don't think that that is an issue as long as we continue to provide education.
Okay, thank you very much, Khalid. So moving on to our final question. So question number 5, given groups where technological unemployment is discriminatory based on education, so again, touching on the points that Khalid made, should technology here be proliferated? So Khalid, if you wouldn't mind sharing your response.
Yeah, so I think to an extent, maybe, especially in low-income communities, that might be something that should be done. But I don't think that it should be completely proliferated.
Okay, thank you, Khalid. So Nizar, on to you.
No, I completely disagree. The proliferation of technology is going to be very dangerous, especially for people who have lower income jobs. By proliferating the technology and making more and more machines that these people are going to suffer. These people are going to go unemployed. They're not going to have jobs. They're not going to have homes. They're not going to be able to provide for their families. And a lot of people will say, which is probably not true. A lot of people say it's a short-term thing. It's not. It's a long-term thing, and studies have shown that. But even if it was a short-term thing, is it worth losing one life or losing a family and making them completely break apart and have to go homeless? Just one family because of it's short-term. It's okay. That's fine. That's not fine. Every person counts, especially in this case, especially when it's a lifeless robot who is taking away their job. It is not fair to anyone, and no one benefits from it. Because the CEO who is putting these machines at work, eventually his job is going to be taken away by a machine in 50 years. So everyone suffers. Humanity.
Okay, thank you very much, Nizar. That is quite an exceptional opinion. So I think this brings our debate to an end. Thank you both very, very much for your time and efforts. I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.